I was honorably discharged at the rank of E3, Lance Corporal. And that last note is really important because it led to this guy, which I'm most well known for. Some of you might know, I am the creator of a comic strip called Terminal Lance. Now, Terminal Lance is a comic, which many of you are probably familiar with if you're here. I launched it January 5th, 2010. There's a story behind it. I actually had wanted to do Terminal Lance. I came up with the idea in like 2008-ish after my first deployment to Iraq. And when I came back, I was like, man, I really want to do this comic strip. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I sort of pitched it to the Hawaii Marine newspaper. There was the base newspaper, the PAO shop, and they didn't want to do it. They were like, So I was like, okay. So they kind of sat on it for a while. And then in 2010, when I came back from Iraq the second time, I was like, okay, look, I want to do this comic. No one's going to help me do it, so if I want to do it, I just got to set it up myself and just put it out there. I was still active duty at the time, and I had no idea what was going to happen because no one had ever done anything like this before. So I launched it on January 5th, 2010, and it started off really small. I mean, I was myself going around doing this sort of guerrilla marketing with Terminal Lance. I was going around to the barracks around Hawaii and putting up flyers and business cards all over the walls and stuff in the laundry rooms and the lounges. And then the Marine Corps Times sort of ran a story on it and a few months later, I think it was really like 3 months into it, and that was when it kind of snowballed into, and it kept growing ever since then. It didn't snowball immediately, it didn't blow up immediately, but it definitely started growing from that point on. Primarily, my audience is Marines, and I love them, and they're the best people in the world. So I wrote the book for Marines, I think, essentially. Like, really, at the end of the day, it was for Marines. I wanted to have a book that Marines, specifically combat veterans, could really identify with. And hopefully help them with any of their own, experiences that maybe they're struggling with, their own resolutions, conflicts that they need resolutions to. And conflict and resolution really became a theme of the book too. And so I wrote it for Marines for that reason, really. And then at the same time, though, I was really conscious of civilian readers. Like there's some parts where the Coyote instructor is explaining what IEDs are and is explaining, what a chameleon is and stuff. And that is really for the civilian readers because Marines know what that stuff is, but you do that class, which we all had to do, really, and it's a really good opportunity to explain to civilians kind of what's going on, what's an IED, why is it going to blow up and kill you. And so also for civilians, I think, for Marines, it's to help them cope with their own experiences. And then for civilians, I think it's just to help them gain a better understanding for what veterans go through because there really is a pretty bad military-civilian divide. And I think that literature is a good way to help bridge that gap by gaining more understanding. And I think that, to be quite honest, veterans are equally responsible for the military-civilian divide as civilians are. So I think it's on both of us to kind of bridge that gap.